Hey everyone, this is a disclaimer. I am fully aware that the movie Andy and his friends are watching is called Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I kept saying Leatherface because that was what was on my mind at the time. Please forgive me for that mistake. I hope you all enjoyed the ending explained. Hi everyone, welcome to Buzzflix. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jasmine and I am going to dive right into my ending explained and my Buddi versus Chucky comparison. I want to give you all a little insight on some of the little nuances that you may have missed in the movie when you went to the theater. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. We are introduced to this tech company called Caslin Products. This is pretty much like if Apple and Amazon came together, you would get Caslin. They have invented the My Buddi, which is supposed to be like what I said in my previous video, if Alexa was in doll form. They help you around the house, they learn your likes and your needs, and they can control all Caslin products like the TV, vacuum, and they use a little glowing finger, kind of like ET, to move things around. Like a lot of the big companies, they use sweatshops to make their products. And there's an employee there that just seems to be completely out of it. And his boss doesn't make things any better by coming to him and yelling in his face and basically telling him, hey, this is your last doll, get out of here. Because the guy is angry that he just lost his job and whatever else he has going on, he decides to wipe all of the hardware blockers off the doll, basically making the doll susceptible to learned behaviors like anger and violence. After doing this, he then kills himself, and there's a flash and we are introduced to Karen and Andy. Karen works for this big box store that sells pretty much nothing but Caslin products. They just moved into a new apartment. Side note, the apartment is the same exact apartment from the first Child's Play, which I thought was really, really cool. Andy has a hearing aid and he's a bit of a loner and he hasn't been the same since his dad left. But after a customer returns a defective Buddi doll, this all changes. Side note, this is the same doll that the disgruntled employee messed up. At first, Andy is a little turned off by the whole idea, and after trying to name him Han Solo, and the doll names himself Chucky, Andy's still like, this thing is messed up, I'm not feeling it. And then they have a weird night where Buddy's like singing to him, but Andy kind of likes it and they become friends. Instantly, Buddy is obsessed with Andy and doing whatever Andy wants and whatever makes Andy happy, or what he thinks makes him happy. Picking up on social cues but not really interpreting them properly. At first he tries to kill the cat because the cat scratches Andy, and after he listens to Andy complain about his mother's boyfriend Shane, he begins to develop a hate for him as well, because if it makes Andy unhappy, the Buddy doesn't like it. Andy decided to plot to scare his mom's boyfriend, and of course Chucky is all in. While in the hallway, he runs into Pug and Fallon. This then starts a friendship between the three. The trio then watch movies together. They watch this movie called Leatherface, the classic, and they're all laughing at the kill scenes, and Chucky thinks, okay, this is what makes Andy's happy, so he begins to exhibit that same behavior, wielding a knife in front of the friends and really just scaring everyone out. The scare scenes with Shane are honestly some of the funniest scenes ever. The way Chucky just kind of stares at him is hilarious, and Shane's a douche, so I don't care about that. But Andy is of course popular because he has Chucky, which is a little unconventional than the Buddi dolls. I mean, he swears and he's not like any other Caslin products. So he becomes popular in the neighborhood. One particular scene that really annoys me with the other kids in the neighborhood is they're playing with Chucky outside, making him stab this stuffed unicorn and say, "This is for Tupac." All for a viral video. So the local detective walks by and all the kids are like, "Narc alert." And of course Chucky then repeats that. So then the detective is like, darn millennials. And it annoys me because clearly all of those kids are Gen Z, and I'm just like, okay, just because you're an older person does not mean everyone is a millennial, all right? There's a difference. But anyway, I digress. Moving on, Chucky and Andy's bond gets tighter. One day, when scaring Karen's boyfriend, he plays a recording of Andy talking junk about Shane, causing Andy's mom to lock Chucky away. And I don't know if I want to call him Buddy or Chucky, but anyway, Chucky does not like that. He loses his mind and punches through the glass to get out of there. And he ends up killing the family cat because in his mind, the cat is the reason why he and Andy can't play anymore. This weirds Andy out, forcing him to hide the fact that Chucky just killed their cat. And he really begins to side-eye Chucky like, what? And Chucky then gets worse, scaring Shane again and playing the same recording as before. This then pisses Shane off, and he then takes it out on Andy, thinking Andy's doing all this, throwing Chucky across the room and scolding Andy. Of course, this triggers Chucky because it makes Andy unhappy. So that same night at Shane's house, which I may add, like I said before, this guy's a complete moron. Not only is he mean to Andy and treats Andy's mom with no respect or care, turns out the guy is married with 2 children. I mean, what? Are you serious? I mean, the cynic in me and the person that just hates this, I didn't care that Chucky killed him. But anyway, Chucky kills him in the manner that he learned from the movie Leatherface that he watched with Andy and his friends, cutting off his face, his leather, just like Leatherface. And then Andy then wakes up to find Shane's face nailed to a watermelon in Andy's room. This freaks Andy completely out, and it ignites more of a possessive behavior between Andy and Chucky. Andy then tries to throw the Leatherface watermelon away, but this plan is derailed as he's caught by his mom and had to lie about the gift-wrapped watermelon and is forced to give it to his neighbor, the detective's mom, Darlene, down the hall, telling her to hold it until his birthday and they'll open it together, which I think is a terrible, terrible idea. In the meantime, Pug and Fallon and Andy remove Chucky's hardware. When they do that, they throw him away, and the creepy janitor then finds him in the trash, which when I say this man is creepy, that's an understatement. He reminds me of the guy from the movie, I think it's called 32 Cameras on Netflix. Oh, I mean, just creepy. If you haven't seen that movie, make sure you go watch that too. He has cameras in the tenants' bathrooms and all of their homes. I mean, the guy just weirds me out. The janitor then begins to repair Chucky, planning to resell him. While strapped to a table, Chucky sees the camera that's in the janitor's basement. He sees that Andy is having dinner with the detective and Miss Darlene. Overhearing Miss Darlene say, "Andy, you're my new best friend." This, of course, triggers Chucky again. Meanwhile, Andy is only at the dinner to swipe the watermelon ahead from Miss Darlene, which he is successful after a weird, awkward conversation between he and the detective. He quickly drops it down the garbage chute and thinks, okay, this is it. I'm done. As Chucky gets fixed down in the basement, it's funny because as soon as he gets fixed, he's just like, all right, I'm out of here. Time to roll. He kills the janitor with another Leatherface inspired kill scene, chopping him in half with a table saw. Yikes. Chucky then grabs his new overalls and bounces right on out of there to one of the kids' house. One of Omar is one of their friends in the neighborhood. He goes to his house. He's pretending to be a fully functioning Buddy doll. One day while hanging out with Omar and Fallon and Pug, the new fully functioning Buddy, Andy then realizes that it's not a new Buddy, it's actually Chucky. He begins to fight Omar in the store, pushing him down, and this causes a rift between him, Pug, and Fallon. But in the midst of the fight, Andy manages to get Omar's phone. This way he's able to keep an eye on Chucky and see what he's doing through the Caslin app. Though his mom doesn't believe him, he still insists that the doll is alive. He explains that while watching on the phone, he saw Chucky go after Miss Darlene as she went to bingo, which this brings me to some really cool technology that's in the movie. It's like this self-driving car can come pick you up, kind of like Uber, wherever you are. And I think it's really cool, but I personally would be creeped out by that. Like, I need some humor and interaction. Like, I ain't here for that. But this is how Chucky gets to her. He's able to access the software in the car, causing the vehicle to drive erratically. And after the last crash, he shows up in the car and stabs her. Worried about Andy, his mom brings him to work that night to the Buddy 2 launch. In the meantime, the Leatherface watermelon was found, and the detective connects Andy to the crime. filled with so much anger because he just found his mother dead, he goes after Andy. Back at the store, Chucky kills one of the employees, and after the launch, everyone runs crazy to the new dolls, and the employee that Chucky stabs sprays blood like from his neck on the face of this little girl, which I hate to say it was a pretty cool scene. This causes complete chaos. It triggers Chucky. Chucky triggers these drones to start killing people and cutting people's throat. But pause, before I get into the end of the movie, let me just say I hated the end, so I'm gonna wrap this up pretty quickly. There were a lot of weird kills in the end that I absolutely hated, and it just came off a little corny to me in some ways, like the Buddi teddy bears that were attacking people. I just didn't see the appeal of that. I was looking like, okay. But as everyone gets out of the store, Andy goes back to save his mom, and of course Chucky baits him, and they think they've killed him. They tear his head off and everything like that, which at the end it zeroes in on this Caslin ad that said they're going to relaunch Buddi 2 due to the poor initial launch, and they've closed in on the shot of Chucky with the glowing red eyes. There will definitely, without a doubt, be a sequel. Like I said in my last review, this is a start to a new separate Child's Play series, one that pays homage to the original, but it's different in many ways. This brings me to my comparison of the two, Buddi versus Chucky. Starting with Buddi, all of his behavior is learned. His sinister ways are all learned from his surroundings, for sure. Chucky is of course influenced by black magic and is possessed by a serial killer, Charles C. Ray, which I think this makes him a little bit scarier and more angry because of the human-like characteristics there. Buddi is obsessed with being Andy's friend. That is his whole world. It's all he knows and cares about. That's all that matters to him. Chucky only wants Andy for his human body. He doesn't want to be a doll. It was only done out of desperation, so he has no attachment to Andy other than, I need your body and soul, kid. That's pretty much it. And last but not least, one of the most obvious difference between Buddi and Chucky is Buddi is designed from technology. So this gives him the advantage of possessing and manipulating other toys around him. Essentially, he can build an entire army with one Bluetooth connection. Now, Chucky, he has an entire ritual to add more dolls to his army. It can be done, but he has to kill someone in order for this to happen. You know, this pretty much concludes my Ending Explained and Buddi versus Chucky comparison. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Until next time, bye.